a lot of things that we.
Question. So I ask a question. Did God create marriage for his people or for all people?
I believe he created marriage for all mankind.
But then that just sort of eliminates everything you've just said.
Yes, I realized that was going to create that little problem.
And as soon as I was asking, I realized the issue. Welcome back to Offbeat POV. My name is Chin, and as you can see, we have a nice new table. I have nice new hair, and we have a nice new topic for you today. So, today's topic is marriage. Is marriage still relevant in 2023 in the Western world? Well, we'll dive straight into that. But before then, I just want to say a big thank you to all our listeners and all our watchers, because we have crossed the 500 subscribers mark on YouTube, which is a big deal. And our first ever video broke 1,000 views. I think last I checked, it was on 1.2.
Hold on. What do you mean? As in the first ever video that we put out?
No. As in one of our videos for the first time has got more than 1,000 views. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much, everybody.
Which is a big deal. Thank you very much. It's a very big deal.
Do you remember the days of 10 views
it's
after 3 weeks?
You know? Who knows? Maybe in a couple of months we'll be looking at 10,000, 20,000. But for now, 1,000 is a lot. So thank you very much. So thank you very much. All right, fine. So poll of the week. Shall we do poll of the week?
Yay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do our poll of the week then.
Poll of the week.
In my head, I still see myself going round the pole.
Poll of the week. Right. This week's poll of the week then. Remember, you're trying to give me your answer, but also you want to get the answer that got the most votes from the people that voted. So, poll of the week. Is it time for 3 people to be able to get married?
Wow.
Our poll of the week today. Is it time for 3 people to be able to get married? So there were only 2 options, yes or no. So yes, we'll start with Fatani and then we'll work our way down.
No and no.
No and no? Not expanding? Okay, Chiza?
My answer no. They said yes.
So you're saying no, you're saying they say
They
yes?
said yes.
Okay.
I don't think it's my answer is no. And I believe the public said no as well, because I don't think wanting to get married to more than one person is a big enough issue in the society, that has attracted enough traction for people to be like, you know what, yeah, I think it's about time. I haven't come across it recently, I haven't seen a newspaper article about it, so I'm finding it hard to find people out there who've got banners like, we want to get married to more than one person.
You're talking about banners. It's just asking people what they think. It's not asking who's an activist about it or who wants to change.
But what I'm trying to say is that, it's not an issue. I don't think people have got a problem with marriage. Like, let's say, people have got an issue with same sex. They want it to be equal marriage and things like that. In fact, in most places now I don't think people have an issue with, can I be married to Jeffrey and then, Steve as well, or Mary and Maria? I don't think so. So I think they said no.
So you're saying no.
I'm saying no.
Chisa, you're saying no, yes. Pasani, you're saying no. Okay. Well, I can reveal that I'll let you guys know at the end of the episode.
Why do you do this?
Because of course it ties in directly into our big question of today, which is marriage still relevant today? Now, let me tell you where this came from. I recently came across an article which was titled something along the lines of, marriage is inherently misogynistic, so I don't know why women still sign up for it. That was the title of the article, right? And this author made it was an argument piece, right? She was stating her points as to why she thinks marriage is misogynistic, why it's not a great institution, why it's against women, and etc., right? So she states that marriage benefits men more than women, right? Because according to science, married men live longer, right? Whereas she says that married women don't live as long as single women, which I checked.
I heard this yesterday.
It's incorrect, because the stats show that married women and married men typically live longer than their single counterparts. So I don't know where she got her stats from, but that's what she stated. That, I mean, I think it's definitely true that married men live longer than single men. I think that's a stat that's not widely disputed. Secondly, says men are likely to be more healthier and happier in a marriage. And men are more likely to fare better economically in a marriage. Whereas on the other hand, married women die sooner, like I said. She also argues that women were kidnapped, sold, or traded into marriages, which, after I thought about it, is not really a valid argument against marriage, because this just shows, I guess, how people got into marriage, or the weird ways or the atrocious ways that people got into marriage. But
or how someone saw that they can make a quick buck from trafficking.
But
that's a human trafficking issue.
When you think about it, it's not really a valid argument against marriage. But that's the argument she made, that women have never really had much choice when it comes to marriage. They were sold, traded, or bought, or etc. But a point that I guess is valid, it says that it strips women of their identity, choice, and freedom. And she concludes that marriage is an unsalvageable lie designed to keep women in service to patriarchy and away from realizing our full potential, our being women. We should reject it entirely and refuse on principle to willingly add our names to a list built primarily on the backs of women who had no choice, no rights, and no freedom.
Interesting.
Right? So
Full
that
potential
was
being what? OnlyFans?
So that was her argument. And like I said, whereas some of her arguments are disputable, it did prompt some thought, right? Her article was her article. She made her points. I disagreed with 90% of them. But of course, it did raise the question of today, which is marriage still relevant, right? So first question then, one to ponder in trying to figure out this answer, is what is the purpose or the point of marriage nowadays?
That's a very good question.
Love. What is the purpose?
What's the purpose or the point?
Isn't it like financially?
What's the purpose? Do you want to get married?
Yes.
Why?
That's how I was programmed to be.
That's why it's a good question. I guess you have to assess your programming, whether your programming is correct or incorrect.
Or is incorrect. Yeah.
I don't see a problem with marriage. I think it's always about what you envision in the marriage.
Let's go back to what's the point or the purpose of marriage.
Yeah, so that's what I'm leading on to that. So okay. I'm saying that because I don't see a problem of marriage, I would see the benefits more. So like, for me, my purpose in a marriage would be to be with my best friend forever and ever.
Okay.
And simply put, to grow with them, to have children and enforce our values that we share and so forth. Something simple, nothing complicated. I can't, just to continue the family and be happy.
Okay. So you say to be with your best friend, to have a long happy life together, have children, continue your family or whatever, right? You can do all those without getting married. I can argue. So why marriage?
I would say also the legal part of it. You do have some sort of protection when you're married, when it's signed and documented that this is the husband, this is the wife. So even on that side, I would want it to be legal of some sort to get those benefits as well.
So based on what you're saying, for you, the only reason to get married is because it's a legal document.
Not the only reason. I already mentioned the other reasons, but you're saying that all of this can be done without getting married. So I'm saying that, okay, but also there's the legal part of it where it'll be good to have like all of that protection, because even when you're not married, there are limitations you have.
What sort of limitations?
Stuff.
What stuff?
So,
like if you're male and your partner has a child, your partner has the decision on whether you go on the birth certificate or not if you're not married. If you're married, you automatically go on the birth certificate.
Okay. So are those the benefits that you can state are one of the benefits?
Just giving an example of what she's saying. Whether she thinks it's a benefit or not.
Okay, fine. What is the purpose or point of marriage?
To be fair with you, if you are a non-believer, I really don't know, except the benefits that she's mentioned. Let's say legal benefits, for example. If you're gonna go your separate ways sometime down the line, if you had that paper indicating that you were married, you've got a bit more pull towards how the assets and stuff that you've built together are divided and stuff like that. When children come into the picture, again, legally, if you're gonna go your separate ways, there's a bit more, pull on both sides on how you're gonna handle your children and stuff like that. But again, for me, these things I wouldn't say that marriage solves them completely. I feel like you can be in a relationship with somebody, have children, and if you break down, you are still the father or the mother of that child. So you can still come to an agreement and stuff like that and whatnot without actually being married. So that's why I'm saying that if you are a non-believer, I would want to know as well from them as well why they think that marriage is still relevant in today. And the reason I'm saying that is because from a believer's point of view, it is what is given to us, so to speak, in the Bible about how a man and woman ought to live. In fact, one of the biggest benefits, obviously, is like the sexual activities that happen. The Bible is quite clear about those kind of activities outside a marriage setting, for example. Yeah. So even if we talk about just that, that's, in fact, that's how it used to be. People grow up, then get married, and then it's like, ooh, the honeymoon and things. I guess that's why it's called the honeymoon. I don't know. So yeah. So from a believer's point of view, I think, I believe it is to do with, obeying, not necessarily obeying, but understanding your creator and what you're created and how he wanted you to live if you're going to go down that path. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. You still haven't told me what the purpose or point of marriage is.
I don't know if you're an unbeliever. If you're a believer, the purpose and point is the fact that it is it's the way that your creator wants you to live. So it's about following, submitting, I guess, to the will, if I can put it like that, of your creator.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my answer.
Okay, so based on what you're saying, then, really only believers should be getting married.
100%, yeah.
Only believers?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not to say believers shouldn't get married, but he's saying if you're not a believer, there's no point of marriage.
I don't know why you're getting married, because and that's the interesting thing, actually, because I was trying to think to myself, where can I trace, okay, where did marriage originate from? If we are speaking about in the society, forget God, for example, let's look into the society. Where did marriage originate from? I didn't manage to find enough concrete points, but one of the stuff that I read was talking about how the first marriage was recorded in even before the Hebrews and the whatnot in 2300 and something BC or something like that. But that's talking about recorded. I was looking for why I actually didn't get to that point yet, So I don't know why, so to speak.
Well, I mean, that's fine, but it sounds to me like it's a very good case for against marriage, because you've got Chisa who's saying, well, I want to get married because that's how I've been programmed.
Okay.
Why do I want to get married? Because of A, B, C, D. And then someone argues, well, but you can get A, B, C, D without getting married. And you're like, well, yeah, I guess.
No, I also used
but then you
D, E, F.
yeah, fine. You go into the legal benefits of getting married, which fair enough. Those are benefits of getting married if you are married. But then I guess the arguments against that is, yeah, even people who are not married should be getting those benefits. Whether I'm not saying whether it's a good argument or not, but I'm just saying that, yeah, that's fair enough. Pro Nick, you're saying really only believers have a reason to get married, a concrete pinpointed reason to get married. If you're not a believer, then
Don't bother.
Then it's like there's nothing you can. Basically, you have no arguments for a non-believer as to why they should be married.
Yeah, 100%. Because, like I said, it's looking for the origin of marriage in the society.
Forget origin. Can you not just look at the
Society.
the benefits of marriage as it stands and make that as an argument? Why do you have to look at the origin of marriage?
Okay, because I need to understand why for them it started. I think I know anyway, but like, okay, if I'm looking at marriage right now, that's why my answer is, if you're an unbeliever, today, you know, I cannot make a solid, concrete argument for you to get married. I'm not stopping you from getting married.
Okay, well,
but I cannot point out the benefits of you getting
so
married.
I'm about to say, okay, fine. Yes, you're getting with your best friend, but this is a public and legal commitment you're making to your person in order to spend the rest of your life with them and to death to us part. So it's not just about, yeah, fine, I'm with my best friend, we're going to live together, but you've actually made a public commitment. You've both made public commitment, public vows, public promises to one another and to your family members that you're actually committed to each other and to death to you as part.
But it's not until death do you part.
No, but
is it?
What do you mean? That's the commitment that people make when they get married. That's the vow that they take. Whether you're not going to how much that's kept, that's a different discussion.
Fair enough.
But would that not be an argument that, okay, yeah, fine, you can live with someone, say, oh yeah, you know what, no, it's fine, we don't have to get married, we love each other, that's enough. That's great, that's fine. But there is no that public commitment before the law, before your friends, before your family, to say, yes, I'm with Hannah until I die.
What does that public proclamation do for you as a couple?
Accountability.
So you are saying that therefore these people should be getting married so that they at least they're held accountable.
I'm saying that's an argument I can make for marriage to a non-believer, to say, okay, that's fine, yeah, you can live with Dave, or you can make a commitment to Dave in front of the law, in front of your friends and family, that you're going to stay with him until death do you part. And from that, obviously, comes stability, comes peace of mind, comes security in a relationship, because you know that Dave is not going anywhere. I mean, obviously, Dave can always go somewhere, obviously. But I'm just saying, it's that mental, it's that psychological aspect of marriage that can actually grant someone peace and security.
Unless there is a stronger... I think that works, right? I think that works. And I think that is the case for believers, because there is a higher power holding you to that. Yeah? I don't think friends and family are enough. In fact...
What do you mean?
Okay, so you're saying that in friends or family, you're making that pledge, yeah, that this is the one, yeah? I'm saying that pledge only means something when there is a higher power to it. You see?
I don't know if I agree with that, because then if that's the case, all business contracts are useless. All contracts between people are useless.
No.
Because you're saying that if God is not involved, they mean nothing.
I wouldn't put the business. I mean, I don't know why you've brought in the business contracts.
No, because it's the same idea in terms that an agreement is made between two parties, that ABCD will be ABCD. And in the same way, when you're getting married, you're making it's like you're entering into a contract, a commitment, a vow to say, until death do I part with Hannah, in front of my friends, in front of my family. You're saying that's not enough when God is not involved. Not
when it comes to the institute of marriage. And this is why I was saying that for me, everything that we do as people, in the society, everything that we do always comes from, why do we do this? What is the origin of this? I think that's what gives a lot of things their meaningfulness or their power, right? Now, I believe that marriage exists on this planet because it was ordained by God from way before civilization even started, right? Now, these people, non-believers, may not claim that, they may not know that, but I know that's the origin of it. These people have found themselves practicing something that they don't know the origins of, or rather, they've cast the origin to recent times when it's actually the originator, when it's actually God, right? So the point I'm trying to make is this. If you're a believer and you're entering that, you know the gravity of it, you know the importance of it, you know what, it's your way of life, yeah? It's the only way of life, because that's what has been handed to you, that this is how you shall live, right? So that the public declaration, whether it's before family and friends, before God, all that, it works because, you know where it's coming from. It's just the way it is, not where it's coming from. It works because it's in the presence of the highest of authority, the Almighty God, right? Take it to people. Yes, they can have the same sentiment. Yeah. Yes, you can say it's this, is that. But I'm then saying, that the argument I'm saying that, to be fair with you, if you do not connect your marriage to the originator, to God, then in essence, whatever you're doing here doesn't really mean anything. So if you ask me the question, okay, so to the wider society, is marriage still relevant today? Based on that, I would actually say, well, technically, no, it's not. Because all the benefits we are mentioning, you can actually get those same benefits without having to be married. The one thing that you are mentioning, that, okay, what about if it's a commitment, a declaration, and so on and so forth? Yeah, fine, fair enough. I'll concede to that. You can have that. But I'm saying that it's going to be shallow anyway. Because a lot of things that we...
So let me ask the question. Did God create marriage for his people or for all people?
I believe he created marriage for all mankind.
But then that just sort of eliminates everything you've just said.
Because then they don't believe in that higher power.
Yes, I realized that was going to create that little problem.
And as soon as I was answering, I realized the issue. That's why his eyes were darting back and forth.
He was like, oh, snap.
No, it wasn't a no snap. My answer is legit. That, so I couldn't say otherwise. That is legit my answer.
So okay. So if we say that God created marriage for all people, obviously he's always had his people, right? He's the Israelites or whatever, or whoever, right? But then we say that marriage is for all people, and I agree with that, because the inclination or the seed of being bound to someone for eternity, for lack of a better word, is in everyone, right? For go wherever in the world, there will be some form of marriage, in quotation marks, right? They may not call it a marriage. For them, it's just two families have got together and whatnot, but there's some sort of that, right? So my point is, your whole argument relies on the fact that God has to be in the picture. What about for those people that God is not in the picture? In this case, the Philistines, the Hittites, the Canaanites, and them lot.
I actually thought about that as well, when I was thinking about the question. And the interesting thing is that what we see, especially in the Bible, we see that these people were still holding marriages and they were getting into marriage and stuff like that. That's where we have someone like Solomon who went to marry someone who was of 9 Israel and stuff like that. So that's why I'm saying that marriages have always been in societies. They've always existed in societies from way back when, because that's what God put in place for mankind. And that's why we all have that drive, to want to be paired up with somebody for the rest of our lives. Okay. However, why am I saying that if you're an unbeliever, we'll just put it aside? Because unfortunately, in recent times, the world has gotten a lot more worse than it ever was, right? We a lot of things are no longer being done by the same, I don't know if I can say mentality or understanding, or even with the same gravity that it once held. That's why I was saying that too deaf to us apart is no longer too deaf to us apart. People are entering into marriages without, the right expectations, if I can say that, or not knowing whatever. We're literally just in and out, like we went to the bus stop and come back, and so on and so forth. It's watered down. It's lost its value. Yeah,
No, but
it's become something else
that's
entirely
fine.
completely.
But that's not. Well, we're not talking
In
about the state of
society.
marriages. We're talking about whether them getting married is still relevant.
Yeah. So because of that, then because of what's happened, that's why I'm saying that for me, in the society of today, it's really not relevant, because if it's no longer two deaf to us part, for example, if it's no longer the accountability you're talking about, because okay, people think it's a bad thing when you say that no, you need to work at marriages and things like that. People think, oh, prison. No, it just means that whatever happens, the two of you are willing to stick together, work together, and move on, and so on and so forth. So it's not even from a negative point of view that I'm saying that. It's just that society has cast away responsibilities and accountabilities.
So what you're saying is society has got marriage wrong. They don't know how to do it. Therefore, it's no longer relevant.
Yeah. And that's why I said that if you're a believer, it is still relevant.
But believers have, I mean, the divorce rates in church are just about the same as outside of church. I think they're like 5 or 7% lower, but it's not they're not great stats.
Yeah.
So if the argument is society are doing it wrong, therefore it's no longer relevant, then should we make the same argument with the church?
Okay.
Believers are doing it wrong.
No, you
therefore
wouldn't.
It's no longer relevant.
No, you wouldn't, because the person that, let's say you have two Christian couple versus two non-Christian couples, or let's say non-believers. Yeah, the advice that is given to these two will be different.
Ooh, how so?
Because with a Christian couple, in advising them, in talking to them about marriage, it's always gonna go back to God. Yeah, this is the ordainment of God. This is what God wants us to live. So you build that that accountability in them to say that you have to stick together.
But that
So you're telling them,
not stopping them from breaking up.
Yeah, so you're telling them stay married because God,
You've vowed to
because
God.
the marriage is God ordained.
Well, not in those words, but what I'm trying to say is that how you're going to counsel them, I believe, will be completely different to what you'll be saying to.
Seeing as you've already made it this far, you might as well press the like button. You might as well press the subscribe button so you can see all the other material that we're putting out. Put your comments in the comments, because we want to hear what you think. We want to hear if you agree with us or if you disagree with us. No opinion is a bad opinion. Go for it.
Don't get me wrong. We have a lot of non-Christian marriages that have gone 50, 60, 70 years, died together, met at 16, died together at 99. So the argument I'm making isn't to say that they don't work. That's not the point. Yeah. But my point is, in a non-believing world, I can't really make that argument for, because the only marriage that I know is the biblical marriage. So I can support that. I can argue for that. I can explain why that is needed today for believers. Yes, the marriage is for all mankind, but I cannot make that argument to non-believers. I really cannot. Because, and especially now, back in the day it's fine, but especially now where it's just so watered down, where people just don't give a monkey's rats anymore.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if that's the mentality. I don't know if that's the mentality. I think marriages are not working, but I don't think the issue is that people view them lightly. I think there's a whole other host of issues, but that's not today's big question. Another day, maybe.
I think there's still a place in society for marriage. I know a lot has been said, but simply put, there's still a place in society for marriage. The issue is there is a demographic that want to get rid of marriage for whatever reason, and I would be curious to find out what Auntie Clementine over there, what her life experiences have been, because it sounds like clearly something in her life has happened that's led to her views and her opinions, and I find that a lot of people that have actually not been in marriages or have not been in successful marriages or long-term marriages have these views. No one's really going around asking happily married people if there's a place in society for marriage, because they're going to get the answer that they don't want. So there is a place in society for marriage. That's how society operates. Our society operates on a family basis. Even if you just go back to the simplest of things, imagine if marriage was banned and everybody had to live individually. We don't have enough houses. there isn't enough houses for everyone to live
pair up.
by themselves.
House shares.
Just a silly reason. But even statistically, kids that come from homes where parents are married, and obviously every relationship is going to have its issues. That's just human relationships, full stop. But kids that come from dual parent households where parents are married are more successful. They do statistically go a lot further in life. I'm not saying that if you come from a single parent home you don't go as far. You do go as far, but the obstacles are also still there. The statistics say what the statistics say. So we are a society built on family morals, built on societies and generations and stuff like that. Because otherwise, and I know one of the things she said was they lose identity. Actually, no, you gain identity. And by that, when you have, I mean, for some people, you can say you lose your identity. But then I suppose I'm guessing, my question would be, what's wrong with joining an identity with somebody else, or starting a new identity with somebody else? And actually, again, back to the children bit, kids from married households have a clearer picture of what their identity is. They don't have to question who they are, where they're from. They can walk into a household and say, this is my identity, this is where I belong, this is my sense of belonging. And that's another thing marriage offers people, a sense of belonging. Whether you're the husband, the wife, the kid in the marriage, there is a sense of belonging there. I know I belong to this person and you belong to me. And again, it goes back to the accountability. In everything, there's accountability. At work, we have accountability. In our churches, there's accountability. Whatever it is, there's always an element of accountability, and marriage offers that accountability. In society, she's already mentioned all the legal reasons to get married. There is that aspect as well. So it's not just a one strand situation. If you pull out the different strands and put them together, you're like, actually, marriage is actually a very holistic thing. It brings to the table a lot of things, so societally, personal life, economically, whatever you want to call it. It brings together a lot of things.
I mean, the thing is, that's not even up for debate. Like I said, the numerous research has been done over many years, and it's clear that married people are usually happier, usually healthier, usually live longer, and usually more well off economically, socially, and mentally. So, and this is a number of years, over loads of studies over a number of years. So that's not really out for debate, to be fair. Of course, people still fight against marriage because of everything that it entails, you know.
But I think that's a misunderstanding of what marriage actually is. And I guess that goes back to Pronic's point to say, do people actually know or understand what marriage is meant to be? Because I think it's simply been watered down to, oh, a man marries you and then he controls your life. No. You're marrying the wrong man then, because that's not what marriage is supposed to be.
Well, that leads me to my next question then, which I guess would be relevant for all three of you, based on what all three of you have said. Based on what all you three have said. Should marriage be a legal thing then, or should it be I don't know if social is the right word, or should it be like a I won't complicate it. Should marriage be a legal arrangement, or is it enough for it to be a civil arrangement? Do you understand the question?
Yes.
To be honest with you, I think it's because it's a legal arrangement that it causes a lot of issues and problems. I feel like if it was a civil arrangement, it takes away the pressure from the people, but somehow allows marriage to actually stand a chance of surviving the long haul.
I think the opposite.
You know, because because this is the problem. Okay, fine. Come in. Hold on. Let me hear what Fatsan is gonna say, because let me hear what she's gonna say.
I feel like if marriage was a social civil thing, then yes, there would be even more scope for people to take advantage and for women to feel the way that Auntie Clementine over there is saying marriage is. Whereas now it's already legal and people still have those thoughts. If it was social, I think it would go off the deep end. At least, let's speak from a feminist perspective. I'm gonna bite the bullet and say Auntie Clementine there is a feminist based on the
Answers, yeah.
based on her type of writing and how she communicates her message. Then you have no protection at all whatsoever. Basically, a man has picked you up to say they literally say you're now mine. No one to somewhat watch over that, no boundaries, no guidances, no. So let's say they do marry you and they control you and now they want to throw you aside. You've got no legal standing for the kinds of things Chisa was saying. Oh, the house is mine, I'm the man. I'll take everything. I'll push you out, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I get that.
I'm glad I did let her go first, because doesn't that fall under what you were saying about people misunderstanding marriages and things like that? Because
that's why I said if I was speaking from Auntie Clementine's perspective.
Yeah, so that's my point. My point is that if we need things in place to protect, I feel like something is already wrong there. So I feel like the marriage we are fighting for is already a problem in itself.
I don't think we need things in place to protect, but with any decision or anything in life, there's always a possibility of it going wrong.
100%.
And people like to know that if things were to go wrong, I'm covered to an extent. Obviously, you're not getting into something hoping for it to go wrong. So, for example, you buy a car. You're not intending on crashing your brand new car, are you? But you still take out insurance. Should the day come that you bump into a Porsche, sorry, Tia. Should the day come that you bump into a car, you are covered. But you don't go out on the road every day saying, I'm going to get into an accident, I'm going to get into an accident. So the same with a legally binding marriage. You don't go into a legally binding... Okay, again, I'm talking from a female perspective, because obviously you're saying it takes away your freedom, it takes away this, that. I don't go into a marriage saying, I'm going into this marriage to get a divorce. No, I go into the marriage for the long haul. When I say for better or for worse, I mean it. However, there might be an occasion where that for better and for worse, till death do us part, doesn't actually reach. And if it doesn't get to that point, I want to know that there is this legal document in place that says I will have half and you will have half.
So you're saying that basically the point is that the fact that marriage is a legal thing is an insurance should people want to split up, then everybody's walking away with something.
Not should they want to, but should they have to?
Yeah. It's an insurance to make sure that you come out with something.
It's one of the reasonings. I'm not saying use marriage as an insurance, but yes, that's what I'm saying. That the same way you take car insurance out, because you know that should you bump into somebody's got your back.
Just saying, because it's a legally binding document. That way, should anything happen, there's legal precedence as to what happens. So no one party walks away with everything. No one party just deserts. Let's say there's kids involved. The dad just can't desert them and be like, oh, well, I'm not with them anymore. You know, he's legally obliged to pay child support or whatever it is that they pay. Or he's legally, or they're legally obliged to split things 50-50. They're legally obliged to. So just saying that in the case that something like that should happen, there's legal protection and backing for things that can happen, so that everyone is looked after. That I'm guessing that's the idea, so that everyone is looked after, so that nobody's taken advantage of. That's what
I don't know. I hear that. I can't really say much against it, except to say that I strongly believe if it were just a civil thing, I feel like it would be more. Not that it isn't now, but I'm just seeing a world where...
So just to clarify, you're saying it would be better if it was a civil thing only?
Only, yes. Okay, fine. Yes, yeah. Because I'm seeing a situation where, again, I can't dispute the complications that arise nowadays, especially if it's the wrong thing and you are fighting and now you want to split up and now there's children involved and so on and so forth. Fine. But what I'm seeing when I'm saying a civil thing, I'm seeing two families coming together. So I'm seeing almost an agreement between two families. Yeah. So going back to what you were saying, the accountability is on those families. That makes sense. So I'm seeing two families joining together. I'm seeing it from that angle, and I'm seeing for some reason I think it makes it more of people's choice to get married.
Is it not a choice right now?
No. I'm just saying that I'm seeing it more of a question. I'm seeing it more of a, how can I put this?
So
it's just so much easier.
So do you trust people to be amicable
That's what I'm thinking. The fact that there's no legal process,
in an ending,
I don't think it would even end. Like with all the marriages I have in mind, if there was no legal footing, it would be chaotic.
Then I think that would make marriage a place to enter for people that actually want marriage.
No, but
you think people don't enter marriage?
When it breaks up, there is, like what they're saying, that there is a safe way of how to do things. If it's just civil, families will. I think you're thinking, oh, a family will just be like, okay, bye, take the goat.
The more powerful family will always.
You take the rats, the mat.
the rats as well.
The mat and the blanket. Okay, you take like everything, just split. That's not. I wouldn't think that would be the case.
Yeah.
I think that there would be even more
commotion
in the situation.
The power of the more power, the more influence will always.
We'll just all take.
You
know, all the movies you see where the rich side, we're gonna take them. They're gonna have nothing left. They're never gonna know their family again. It will just become even more.
Yeah, let that be a civil matter. Let the families deal with it.
Even the complications
let them
from
deal
that,
with
though.
it. How many years have families and societies been dealing with domestic issues like this?
That are coming from that. So I'm saying that you're saying for the families to deal with it, and then let's say the impact how it would have on the children in them moving forward. It's just chaotic. It's just a mess.
Let the family deal with the messes.
So you're saying it do you think it would be better for society to let the families deal with the messes as opposed to setting legal precedents?
I think, from what's been said, I believe it will definitely provide, it'll be a big deterrence for people not just to walk into it willy-nilly.
Well, no, hang on, no.
I think that's exactly what they'll do.
There wouldn't be because right now, people can choose to live together for 15, 20, 25 years without getting married, right? So they're cohabitating, they're civil partners or whatever. But then why? Because getting married is a legal commitment. It's a legal document. You're now legally married. So they don't want to be legally married. They just choose to live together. But then now if it's a civil thing, literally John and Emma, who want to live together, just have to get consent from their parents. Again, obviously there'll be a process, but let's just say they just have to get the consent from their parents. Yeah, you can live together. Yeah, you're now married.
But even that consent is
there's no deterrent. Right now there's a deterrent because you're entering into a legal thing. Taking that away would be removing deterrent, which some people argue for, would be removing that deterrent. It wouldn't be adding anything.
Okay, so what would be the difference between John and Mary, who have lived for 25 years without getting married, right? If they want to split up, versus John and Mary, who have entered a civil marriage, let's say that's not legal, and they want to split up.
What do you mean? The question was hypothetical to say, should marriage just be a civil, not legal? Because if it was civil, all the benefits that we described here, all the whatever that we described, would be attributed to anyone who enters into the civil marriage. So as far as civilly and the country is concerned, you'll be married. So if the person gives birth, the person they're married to is automatically on the birth certificate. Right? Which right now, you have to be legally married for that to be automatic. So the difference would be, it was a hypothetical question. So in that world, all the benefits that come with marriage would come with marriage without the legal aspect of it.
Right.
Yeah, okay, fine. Okay.
No. I get you.
No, okay. So
I understand. I understand.
There's a lot more questions to go into. So I guess we're gonna have to term this part one, and we're gonna have to come back and revisit it, right? But right now, I want to give you guys a test, right? Not a test per se. But I want to give you 3 common reasons, right, that people give for not wanting to get married or for being against marriage, right? Now, I want to see if you can either debunk these reasons or agree with them in one sentence.
Okay.
Right? One sentence.
Okay.
So I'll give you the reason.
And a semicolon?
no.
I mean, you can have a comma, that's
And then a
fine.
dash.
But no semicolon.
then
But
brackets.
one sentence, right?
Okay.
So these are reasons that people give against marriage. So agree or disagree in one sentence, right? Reason number 1. We don't need to get married because we can just cohabitate and live together. No.
The fact that you've said cohabitate, it shows me already that you know that you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. So actually, no, you do need to get married.
Okay. Nah, that's a fair one. No fronts on that one.
What do you hold on?
No convincing arguments were made.
You said one sentence. You can't say a lot in one sentence.
You can say a lot in one sentence if your sentence is the right sentence. Or it's a convincing sentence.
That was just
that wasn't a test. That was
a
one.
trial.
2.
But hold on. Do you know that the word cohabitate is actually a negative word?
What do you mean?
Cohabitate.
Or how's it negative?
Cohabitate. To live with.
Yeah. That's literally what it means.
You're very right.
No.
I struck that from the record.
What did you think it meant?
Never mind. We're moving on.
Yeah. Right. Reason
wonder
number
why
2.
that
Let's see
point
if you can
doesn't-
do better. Reason number 2. Weddings are expensive.
Marriage is not the wedding. The wedding day is just that, the wedding day. Marriage is every single day after that. So that's not a good enough reason to say you don't need a grand wedding for marriage.
Live within your
That's
means.
not-
You had a semicolon, or she had a semicolon in that. Okay.
Yeah, live within your means.
Okay. Even better. Not a sentence, just a phrase.
Yes.
Good.
It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be what? I said a sentence. Why? You people.
That is a sentence.
What? That doesn't even make sense.
You-
Oh, right. Weddings are expensive.
There
It doesn't
you
have to
go.
be.
Yeah.
It's not a sentence, but okay, fine. At least some compelling
I'm getting
arguments were made this time.
What do you mean you think you're getting?
Okay.
There was only 3 points.
last
You're
one.
on to the last one now.
Oh snap!
The last one, right? I'm afraid to get divorced. It sounds messy, painful, and expensive.
I agree.
Enter marriage intending to get divorced.
So repeat your sentence.
That was what I
Don't
was gonna
enter
say.
marriage intending to get divorced.
Okay.
Can you read it again?
I'm afraid to get divorced. It sounds messy, painful, and expensive. Why did you just
Work
me
on
to read it?
it. Because
Oh, is you trying to formulate your one sentence?
yeah,
Okay,
I'm
go
trying
on.
to just formulate.
Prawn it.
I agree.
Okay. your
Man, I
sentence.
should say what work.
You want to read one more
Listen,
time?
yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Work on it. Like I'm trying to figure out a proper sentence without copying this one. Because both points now, she has said the 2 things I want to say. So yeah.
Alright. Okay. Okie dokie. Well, listen. Like I said, I think there's a much bigger conversation to be had. So we're gonna have to term this one. I think initially we're just trying to understand the purpose of marriage, or why marriage is still relevant. And yeah, some valid points have been made. Because there is a movement against marriage that's growing, simply because people don't see the relevance of it anymore. So people are not against quote unquote love, or against people living together or having children or whatnot, but there are people that are attacking the marriage institute, as people call it, the marriage institute, right? And that's why I think this question is a relevant question, because I think a conversation has to be had. Because if nothing else, I think it highlights the gaps in our own reasoning sometimes. Because, we have all grown up Christian as believers or whatever. So yeah, marriage is, you don't even think about it twice.
It's a norm.
But then when you actually think about what is the point of marriage? Why do we get married? Why do people get married? Why do they need to get married? You may realize that actually there's some gaps in my own knowledge, in my own reasoning and whatnot. And filling in those gaps, A, helps you change your mind to a more better way of thinking, or B, helps you actually solidify your mind in actually understanding why you believe what you believe, or why you think what you think, as opposed to just operating on autopilot.
I don't know. I think everyone just complicates things. You just make a marriage what you want it to be, no? I mean, I'm not married, but you just make a marriage the way you envision the marriage to be with whoever you're with.
In terms of what?
In terms of the woman doesn't have to cook every day. If you're feeling, because one of the points was you lose your identity, you become just a mother, whatever.
Oh, I never said that.
I know, but I read somewhere else that you just become a mother or a wife. You're not your own person. Okay, talk to your husband. Create the marriage where you can do all the other things that not all the other things you were
Okay,
doing
so I have
before.
a question for you, a quick question. Then, okay, what about to those women that, and I saw a clip, I don't know if it was staged or if it was actually real, but someone a girl refusing to take the guy's name upon marriage. So the guy was like, "Oh, so I'm not gonna propose to you then." So in terms of losing identity, what would you say to those women then? Because you are saying
I want to lose my last name.
so you are saying, because you are saying that you can make it whatever you want it to be. So what would you say to a couple or to a woman who is saying that? Well,
I mean,
I'm gonna keep my last name.
We already have a real life example.
I'm asking you, what would you say to them? Is that okay for you? So you can get married to somebody
what you feel
and not take their name.
It's what you feel that is right for your relationship. Is it really, really, really important to you? And if they're already proposing to you and not having that conversation, then are you really ready to propose to this person when you haven't spoken about last names or children's, okay, maybe not children's names.
So essentially
we're having a boy and then
you
a
are
girl.
saying you are saying that we can just take this institute called marriage thing and mold it and fit it to what we think or what we believe it should be.
No, we can just take marriage and simplify it.
So, because the reason I'm asking that, because for example, the whole name changing thing, that's been from day one, right?
Mm-hmm. For women,
from very far, like
when
women.
Because the Bible only says the two shall become one.
Oh.
I mean,
it doesn't say it doesn't really specify. I mean, is there somewhere?
I don't think there are any last names mentioned in the Bible.
I know,
but so I wouldn't know how far to go with that. So
Judas Iscariot.
So I would comment on the society.
No. I think last names were actually a recent thing. I think during I don't know if it's correct, but I once read that during the Black Death, when people were dying,
there were too many Bobs.
No. Like, because a lot of people died in the city, so people from like the country started going into the cities, and then obviously, in your little village, you were just John the blacksmith, because the people knew each other. Or John the blacksmith, John the potter, John. Yeah. So but then when you go to the big city, now there is multiple blacksmiths and there is multiple Johns and whatnot. So now you have to start differentiating. John Blackbeard, John West, John, whatever. So I'm saying, anyway, I don't know how true that is, but apparently it's during the Dark Ages, Black period, that last names actually came into effect. Before that, it was just Nero.
But you had houses,
Alexander the Great.
didn't you? Like the house of something. The house of something. So if someone got married, they would go to that house. So they'll be associated with that house. You see?
That's fine.
So
don't they choose the house name?
No. So there's a house of let's say a house of Tarot.
It's just a family of like Abraham's family, for example.
Exactly. So
Abraham.
So Sarah. Exactly. So Sarah now she was already there from the house of Abraham, but she now became from the house of Abraham. You see? Again.
Times two.
So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that when you talk about marriage, right, that's a big part of it. Now that's a fair point. We can look into when it started, whatever, but that's a big part of it. And it's the whole shall be joined and become one flesh. And biblically, it's the lineage is counted from the man. So that's why it's like that's why Christ came from the house of Judah. Yeah, because Joseph was from that tribe in David. Anyway, my point is,
it's the communication.
So my point is, but then
between them,
if you have somebody who is saying that, well, I want to get married, but I don't want to take your last name. I want to keep my name.
If that's a deal breaker.
Does that still, no, I'm not talking about deal breakers or not, but in your opinion, doesn't that change institute of marriage? Can you still call that marriage?
Okay, let's go back to the poll of the week. But let me ask you. So two people get married, the woman doesn't take the man's last name. Is that a marriage? Yes or no?
Oh, answer that one.
Essentially, that's what I'm asking her. So why are you asking me that?
Yes
she needs to give the answer, not me. I want to know from her.
What's the question? So I'm asking yes or no.
I would say
yes or no.
I was about to say
no. Yes.
You're about to explain.
Oh no.
No, I was about to say I would say yes or no. So I was gonna give you my answer.
Okay, go on.
Poll of the week.
Right, ladies and gentlemen. So our poll of the week this week was: is it time for 3 people to be able to get married? Now, if I remember, Fatsani said no, as in she says no. She thinks the public said no. Chisa said no, yes. No, yes. And Pronick said no. I can reveal that the majority of people Over 1,000 people voted, and the majority of them chose no. It is not time for, it is not time for 3 people to be able to get married. Although a lot of the comments seem to be very pro it, and they were very
I've seen like on TikTok and all of these places. There's so many 3 people relationships nowadays. They divide stress, so like how we talk about the whole AI blah 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 blah. So it's like you don't overload one person with all their responsibilities of what you want in a man, and then you have 2 of them. I've been seeing a lot of them. That's why I thought it would be
and it definitely goes back to I guess the point I was making about, yes, marriages are not working, but I don't think it's because people don't understand the gravity of marriage. I think the equation is wrong way before they even get married. But listen, we'll go into marriage a little bit deeper on our next episode,
including arranged marriages and forced marriages.
Thank you very much
for
joining us on another episode of Offbeat
Good
POV.
News.
Before we leave, we're going to go to Pranay for good news.
Don't leave me.
I was just rounding up. Okay, fine. Give us your good news.
It's a quick one. All right. There was a cat, a Cambridgeshire cat that went missing 8 months ago. And this is a recent article. Was found after 8 months, obviously, 60 miles away from its home. I thought you'd enjoy this because you're a cat person. I don't know how it got there. I don't know why it got there, but it was being cared for by a group of office workers. And then one day, I'm guessing after 8 months, they decided to check its microchip, and then it revealed the right owner. So apparently he is now settling back in at his home.
That's sweet.
His name was Stark.
Stark?
Yeah, Stark. STARK. I think so, yeah. that could explain him if he got into his suit. I'm sure.
I mean, it could be good news or it could be horrible news for the cat. What if it was trying to get? What if it was happy in the office? It found a new life, and now you put it back in his place.
Oh no, I'm back here.
Terrible.
But apparently he's settling back when you're home, so he must be happy.